بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم أما بعد. Last lesson we began الدرس الثاني, the second lesson, and we read I think almost a third of the passage that we're supposed to be reading, and then we paused. It's important to note that Madinah Book 1, the series, we have Madinah Book 1, 2 and 3, and alongside these three books there are other side books which we are not studying, so there's going to be information that's missed out. So in order to bridge the gap, we have to stop and pause in certain places and explain things so everything adds up. So there's certain things which are going to come which need to be explained that are not mentioned in the book. If I don't explain it, then it's going to cause confusion. This is why sometimes I stop, I pause and explain things. So some of you might think, why you explain this? This is not in the lesson, this is not mentioned and so on. But inshallah, when things come together, inshallah it will make perfect sense. So last lesson we spoke about this. We said the fi'l, the verb, and the verb is something which is going to be a major focus in book 2. In book 1, the ism was the main focus. In book 2, the main focus is going to be the verbs, the af'al. So the fi'l, the verb in the Arabic language, is categorized into 3. Madi, which is the past tense verb. Mudari', present tense. Amr, command form. So example, ذهب, he went. يذهب, he is going. اذهب, go, commanding someone. Last lesson we concentrated on the Madi, the past tense verb. The tasrif of the Madi, how to transform the Madi so that you are reflecting the different people you're addressing, to reflect those who you're addressing. So the different dama'ir. So we have third person, then we have second person, then we have first person, and then we have 1, 2 and more than 2, and then we have male, female for each category. So we said the tasrif, transferring the verb and changing it to adopt or to include the different people you're addressing, is something which focuses on the ending. It's the ending where you attach the different verbs. And the last haraka, the last vowel, sometimes it's fatha, sometimes it's dhamma, sometimes it's sukun. So the focus is on the ending. And knowing the changes in one verb can be transferred onto other verbs, because it's going to be the exact same changes. So this is why we practice with dhahaba, and we mentioned the changes with dhahaba, and we said we can apply it to daraba and other past tense verbs, and then we gave homework. And the homework was to do the same thing with these 4. Alima, sharufa, akhraja, istaslama. This was the homework, which we're going to go over now. So I said write a separate table for each verb. So the first one was alima, and I'd said that ayn, lam, mim, they're going to remain intact. The fatha on the first letter, the haraka of the second letter is going to remain intact, unchanged. What's going to be changing is the haraka of the last letter. It's the last letter that's going to change, and that's where the additions are going to come in. So alima, if you're talking to so we have three categories here. So third person, this is third person, this is second person, this is first person for each of the verbs, in case you're wondering why the lines are there. And this is male, this is each line male and then female, female, male and female, but because it's going to be the same for both, I've just written one. And then we have mufrad, this one is singular if you're addressing one person, 2 and more than 2. Okay, alima means to know. So he knew, there's no changes. For huwa, it always remains the same, alima. The same verb that you have, you just put it there, alima. طيب, alima, the two of them knew, is going to be alima. You add alif at the end of the verb. Alima means the two of them knew, male. So this is all male. He, one male, knew. 2 males, knew. What's the difference between the first one and the second one? The alif. Alif al-ithnain. This is the dhamir. Everything that I write in red is a dhamir, is a pronoun. So the two of them knew, males. So if it's more than two, they knew, we add a waw. And then this waw requires a dhamma before it, which is why the meme takes a dhamma in this case. And to differentiate this waw from being a dhamir and other than the dhamir, we have a alif after it, alif al-fariqa. So if I gave you another verb, for example, da'a, da'a means to invite or to call. The mudari' of da'a is yad'u. Yad'u. That's the mudari', present tense verb. Here the waw is part of the verb. The waw is part of the verb. It's not waw al-jama' that's been added. So in this case, putting an alif after it is incorrect. I wouldn't put an alif after it because this waw is not waw al-jama'. The only time I write an alif if the waw is waw al-jama'. So that's why this alif is here, to differentiate the waw al-jama' from the other waws. The waw which is not waw al-jama'. Okay, so that's the point of the alif. So it's not a dhamir, it's just there to differentiate the type of waw that it's coming after. If it's there, that means it's waw al-jama'. If it's not there, then that's not waw al-jama', basically. So alimu, more than two males knew, past tense. For female, here, she knew. Alimat. Alimat, we add a ta. And this is not a dhamir. This ta is a harf also. It's there to differentiate that the hidden dhamir, because in this case and this case, the dhamir is hidden. The pronoun is hidden. Here is huwa and here is here. We know it's here because of the ta. The two of them knew, females. We take this, we build it on from here. So we have ta, and then we add the alif, which denotes two people. Alimat. Alimat, the ta takes a fatha in this case because there's two sukuns, and the sukuns alimat and the alif. So that's why the ta is given a fatha to make it easy to pronounce. Alimata. Alimata, the two women, the two females knew. If it's a group of females, we add a noon, and this noon is called noon al-inath, and sometimes they say noon al-niswa. So it has two names, noon al-inath or noon al-niswa. However, when we add this when we add this noon, the meme or the last letter of the verb has to take a sukun. It has to take a sukun. And from here onwards, all of the verbs ending is going to be sakin. So I can say alim, 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 for all of them, before attaching the dhamir that's going to come. طيب. So from here onwards, this is where the last letter of the verb takes a sukun. Prior to that, it was fatha, 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 except here, dhamma, because of the waw. It's easier to say alimu than to say alimaw. طيب. Now we finished the third person dhama'ir, pronouns. Now second person dhama'ir, when you're addressing the person directly. One man, two men, more than two. One female, two females, more than two. طيب. So if I'm addressing one man, I say alimta, you knew. Alimta. Two of you knew. Alimtuma, you two knew. You, more than two, knew. Males, alimtum. Talking to a female, you knew. Alimti. Alimti, you knew that. Alimtuma is the same for both males and females. Alimtuma. Alimtuma. For a group of females, more than two, alimtunna. Alimtunna. So we finished the second person dhama'ir. Now, first person, talking about yourself. If you're one person talking about yourself, two, more than two. Both males and females are going to use the same. So first person dhama'ir are exactly the same for both males and females. So one woman and one man talking about themselves, they will say alimtu, I knew. The woman would say alimtu and the man would say alimtu also. طيب. If it's two or more, they will use the same dhamir. It will be alimna, we knew. Alimna, we knew. So two and above is alimna, we knew. طيب. So this is a fi'l madi where the middle letter has a kasra. Then we have a fi'l madi where the middle letter has a dhamma. And prior to this we did the fi'l madi where the middle letter has a fatha. So we've done all possible forms Fatha in the middle with dhahaba, kasra in the middle with alima, sharufa is dhamma in the middle. So let's do this again. So sharufa in the base form, huwa, he, is just the same thing, you just add the fatha. Sharufa is the form, doesn't change. Sharufa alif. Sharufa means to become noble. So he became noble, the two of them became noble, a group of them, males, became noble. We add a waw, and then remember this waw has the alif after it, and then the letter before the waw has a dhamma. She became noble, all we do is add a ta or ta'nith, and then we say sharufat. Then sharufa, and the ta takes a fatha, then we add the alif, sharufata. And then from here onwards, it takes a sukoon. From here onwards, the last letter takes a sukoon. So we give it a sukoon. Then we can add the different dhamair. So a group of them, we add nun al-inath. Sharufna. The group of them women, they became noble. You became noble, sharufta. You two, sharuftuma. You all, sharuftum. You female, sharufti. You females, two of you, sharuftuma, same. You all females became noble, sharuftunna. Sharuftunna. I became noble, sharuftu. We became noble, sharufna, two of us. We, more than two, we became noble, sharufna. Male and female alike, they use the same one. So that's 3 lettered. Then we gave homework with 4 letters and 6 lettered past tense verbs. And we said, even if the verb is 4 lettered or 5 lettered or 6 lettered, the exact same thing is going to apply. So for Madi, akhraja, nothing changed. The Madi singular, male, akhraja. Akhraja. Akhraja means to take something out. Akhraja, he took out. Akhraja, the two of them took out. Akhraja. Akhraja, we say akhraju. And then the letter before the waw has a dhamma. And then we add the alif to show that the waw is waw al-jama'ah. So akhraju. He took out, the two of them took out, a group of males took out something. So I say akhraj al-kitaba min al-haqiba. He took out the book from the bag. Akhrajat. She took out. Akhrajat. Here, the fa'il is here, it's hidden. Akhrajat. And it's fatha also. Then akhraja, the ta takes a fatha in this case, then we add the alif. The same alif, alif al-ithnain, denoting 2. Then from here onwards, sukoon. Sukoon. Now we can add the dhamair. Group of women, they took out. Akhrajna. You took out, I'm talking to one male. Akhrajta. Akhrajtuma. Akhrajtum. Akhrajti. You took out female. Akhrajtuma. Akhrajtunna. I took out akhrajtu. We took out akhrajna. We, more than 2, akhrajna, same thing. Istaslama is our final verb that we gave for homework. Istaslama means to give up. Istaslama, he gave up. Same thing, nothing's changed. The two of them gave up. Istaslama. They all gave up. Istaslamu. They, men, gave up. Istaslamat. She gave up. Istaslamat. She surrendered. She gave up. Istaslamata. طيب. Istaslama. The ta here takes a fatha. طيب. From here onwards we said sukoon. طيب. The group of women gave up. We have nun al-inath. Istaslamna. They gave up. You gave up. Istaslamta. Istaslamtuma. You two gave up. You, group of men, talking to them, gave up. Istaslamtum. You gave up, talking to a woman. Istaslamti. Istaslamtuma. Istaslamtunna. I gave up. Istaslamtu. We gave up, 2 of us. Istaslamna. We all gave up. Istaslamna. Same thing. And then make sure you stretch here the noon so that you differentiate from this. You say istaslamna. This is istaslamna. They, the woman, gave up. Istaslamna, we gave up. Istaslamna, istaslamna. Make sure you pronounce that differently. So the homework is done. What's next now? What's next is this verb now. We're going to deal with this verb. This is the verb that we're trying to get to all this time. Laisa is also a fi'l madi. Laisa is also a fi'l madi. However, this one is special. Notice how the middle letter has a sukoon. The previous ones, it was either fatha, kasra, dhamma. But this one, it has a sukoon. Laysa is fi'l madi, but it's a special fi'l madi. It has special qualities. Firstly, the first special quality or first difference between this fi'l madi and the rest of the af'al al-madiyah is that this one is naqis. Naqis means it's deficient. It's deficient. Why is it deficient? It's deficient because, firstly, you can't get a fi'l mudari' from this. Remember, we had dhahaba, and then from dhahaba we got yadhhabu, he is going. Idhhab with the fi'l amr, go. With this one, you don't have any other tasrif. There's no other form. Mudari', there's no mudari', there's no amr. It just comes in the madi. So there's no mudari' and there's no amr. Just madi. Laysa is all you have. There's no ya laysu, less. There's no such thing. Laysa is in the madi form. That's the first thing that we need to know. The second thing that we need to know about laysa, or special characteristic of laysa, is that with normal verbs, we have fi'l, the verb, and then every fi'l has a fa'il. Every fi'l has a fa'il. With normal verbs, we have the fi'l, dhahaba. Where's the fa'il in dhahaba? Huwa. Dhahaba, where's the fa'il? The alif. Dhahaba Muhammadun, where's the fa'il? Muhammad. Dhahabna, where's the fa'il? The noon. So every fi'l has a fa'il. But with laysa, it doesn't have a fa'il. With laysa, it doesn't have a fa'il. That's another characteristic of this verb. It doesn't have a fa'il. So what does it have? So the fi'l laysa comes. Instead of a fa'il, we're looking for a ism and a khabar. Instead of a fa'il, we have after laysa ism and a khabar. It has to have a ism and a khabar. This is the second special characteristic of laysa. Okay, we'll pause there for now and then go now to the tasrif of laysa. The same thing that we did dhahaba, dhahaba, dhahabu, dharaba, sharufa, alima. What we did with the previous verbs, we're going to do that with the laysa now. So let's do that. So let me write laysa is the first huwa. Laysa. Huwa, laysa. Then we have two of them. We have lay, and then we add the alif, right? Laysa, two of them. And then if it's a group of them, we're referring to a group of them. Ignore the meaning for now, yeah? The meaning is not something that we need to be concentrating on right now. The meaning will become clear. So we need to add waw al-jama'a. The waw al-jama'a always has an alif after it, fariqa. Then she, if it's she, we say lay, laysa, and then we add ta, ta'u ta'nith, sakina, laysat. And if it's two, we say the same thing, except the ta has a fatha in this case, and we add the alif. So that's lay, sa, ta, laysata. طيب. Then we have laysa once again, and then we're going to add a noon, right? And then we said from here onwards, it takes a sukoon. صح? We said here onwards, it takes a sukoon. All of them take a sukoon. طيب. Now, with laysa, there's going to be a problem now. Once we reach here to the end, there's going to be a problem. And that problem is, the last letter has a sukoon, and the ya of laysa has a sukoon. Meeting of two sukoons. This is a major problem. There's no possibility of us reading this with the existence of two sukoon next to one another. So we have to come out of this dilemma. And the way to come out of this dilemma in this case is we have to remove the ya. The ya is going to be removed. The ya is going to be removed from here until the end. because it's not possible to read the two sukuns. So we're left with one sukun if we remove the ya. So we say las, las, and then we can add the noon. Lasna. So we're going to end up with las, las, las until the end. Las, because of that same reason, because the scene is going to be sakin until the end. So because there's two sukuns meeting, the ya has to be removed, and that's going to happen until the end. So that's the third person. Las. طيب, now I can add my ضميرs, but let me just put the harakat. Las, 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 las. طيب, you لست, أنت لست, لستما, لستم, you female لستي, لستما. Notice the same ضميرs that I'm using, the same exact ضميرs. لستن, I لستو, we لسنا, لسنا. The exact same ضمائر. The only difference here is there was a problem here and I fixed the problem. The two sukuns, impossible to read, so we remove the ya. And we do the same until the end. So it becomes less, 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 less until the end. This is important because these different tasrif are going to come. They're going to come, and then in the book we have Laisa, and then other times we have lasta, lastuma, and then you're going to be thinking, what's going on? So that's why we did the tasrif of the madi. Now we understand how the madi changes, and now it's helped us to understand how Laisa changes also, with that additional note that the ya is dropped because of iltiqa al-sakinain. طيب. Okay, now something very important now. In lesson 1 at Darsul Awwal, the main concept in Darsul Awwal was Inna and its sisters. Inna and its sisters. And they were 6 particles in total. 6 ahruf. Right? Inna and its sisters, 6 ahruf. What did Inna and its sisters do? They were particles which only entered upon the Jumla Ismiya. Inna and its sisters only enter upon Jumla Ismiya. And then when they enter upon the Jumla Ismiya, they affect both parts differently. They affect the Mubtada and the Khabar differently. There's no need to explain that. Okay. What we need to do now is explain the main concept of lesson 2. In lesson 2 at Darsu Thani, there is also another concept which is similar to Inna and its sisters. And that is Kana, Kana and its sisters. Kana wa akhawatuha. Kana and its sisters now. There's Inna and its sisters and Kana and its sisters. Let's mention the similarities between Inna and its sisters and Kana wa akhawatuha. The first similarity is that both of these, Inna and its sisters and Kana and its sisters, only enter upon the Jumla Ismiya. That's the first similarity. These two enter upon Jumla Ismiya. They don't enter upon Jumla Fi'liya. Second similarity is when they enter upon the Jumla Ismiya, they're going to affect both parts. They're going to affect the Mubtada and they're going to affect the Khabar. That's the second similarity. 2 similarities. Now let's speak about the differences between Inna and its sisters and Kana and its sisters. The first difference is Inna and its sisters are ahruf. What's ahruf? They're huruf, they're particles. Whereas Kana and its sisters are verbs. These are all fi'l. Fi'lun. Kana and its sisters are all fi'lun. How many in total? There's 13 verbs. They are 13 verbs in total. These are 6 particles, and these Kana, including Kana, there's 13 of them in total. And from these 13 is Laisa. Laisa is one of these 13 verbs. Laisa is one of the 13 verbs which belong to this group of verbs which have the same grammatical function. So what's the first difference between Kana and its sisters and Inna? Inna are huruf, Kana and its sisters are all verbs. That's the first major difference. The second major difference is that they have the opposite effect. Inna and kana, they do the opposite. When inna enters into the jumla ismiya, it makes the mubtada mansoob and the khabar marfu'. Kana does the opposite. It makes the mubtada marfu' and it makes the khabar mansoob. So let's give an example. So we have Allahu Ghafurun. Inna enters upon the sentence, and this is a jumla ismiya. It makes the mubtada mansoob, as we learnt in lesson 1, and it makes the khabar marfu'. Makes the khabar marfu'. We said kana does the opposite. So let's have kana. Kana. We have Allah Ghafurun. Kana is going to make this the opposite of this. The opposite of this is mansoob and this was marfu'. Mansoob, marfu'. It's going to be the opposite. This is going to be marfu', this is going to be mansoob. So this is marfu' and Ghafuran is going to be mansoob. Kana Allahu Ghafuran. And they have meanings. These verbs, they have their own meanings. They differ in meaning, but the grammatical function is the same. Kana usually means was. Past tense, was. They're past tense verbs, was. However, when you're referring to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it means was and still is. طيب, when you see kana used with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's names or speaking about Allah, it means was and still is. It's continuous. Kana Allah Ghafur Rahim. Allah was and still is Ghafuran. So there's kana and its sisters. They have the opposite effect of inna and its sisters. And we said that Laisa is one of these 13. Laisa is one of these 13. That's why we mentioned here that these af'al, they're not like normal af'al. These 13 af'al, they're not like normal af'al. So we're not looking for fa'il. We're not going to be looking for fa'il after these af'al, these 13. What are we going to be looking for? We're going to be looking for ism and khabar. Ism and khabar. And just like here we say this is no longer called mubtada, is ismu inna, khabar inna. Likewise here. Ismu kana, khabar kana. If it was laysa, it would be ismu laysa, khabar laysa. Ismu laysa, khabar laysa. طيب. Okay. Now we're going to concentrate on laysa. So we know that laysa is part of kana and its sisters. But kana hasn't been mentioned in lesson 2. They've mentioned laysa, which is one of the 13. So let's give examples now. First, we're going to concentrate on the meaning. Laysa comes for negation. It comes to negate jumla ismiya. So if I said Muhammadun tawilun. Muhammadun tawilun. Muhammad mubtada, tawilun khabar. I've affirmed for Muhammad this khabar, that he is tall. Laysa comes and it negates this khabar from Muhammad. It says that Muhammad is not this. How do I do that? I bring laysa before the jumla ismiya and I say laysa, and then I apply those two rules. Remember the rules? It makes the mubtada marfu and the khabar mansoob. So laysa Muhammadun tawilan. What does that mean? Muhammad is not tall. Laysa Muhammadun tawilan. Laysa Muhammadun tawilan means Muhammad is not tall. Another example. Laysa al-Muslimu jabanan. The Muslim is not a coward. The Muslim is not a coward. Al-Muslim shuja'. The Muslim is courageous and brave. Laysa al-Muslimu jabanan. The Muslim is not a jaban. So those examples are normal nouns coming as mubtada. Normal nouns coming as mubtada. We learned in lesson 1, sometimes the mubtada can come as a dhamir. The mubtada can sometimes come as a dhamir. So, for example, we say huwa tawilun. Huwa tawilun. He is tall. Huma tawilan. The two of them are tall. Hum طوال. They all are tall. هم طوال. هي طويلة. She is tall. هي طويلة. طيب, if the مبتدا in the original sentence comes as a ضمير and we use Laisa, the ضمير is going to transform into one of these now. It's going to transform into the same ضميrs that we used as fa'il. The same ضميrs that we used as fa'il, here we're going to use one of these. We're going to use one of these. So for huwa, we would use this Laisa. That's the equivalent for huwa. If it was huma, it would be Laisa. If it was hum, Laysu. If it was here, Laysat. That's why we went and covered that. So if I was in, he is not tall, it would be Laysa طويل. Laysa طويل. What's Laysa طويل? Laysa is the verb. Where's ismu Laysa? Ismu Laysa is hidden. It's mustatir. What is it? It's huwa. Huwa is hidden. Oh, sorry, it's not طويل. See, this is why you have to concentrate. It should be Laysa طويلا, because it has the opposite job as inna. So you have to be focused here. It does the opposite of inna. So this is going to be mansub, yeah? Ismu Laysa is mansub. طيب, let's go back to what you're saying. Laysa, ismu Laysa is hidden. It's huwa. طويلا is the khabar. Ismu Laysa ضمير مستتر is huwa. طويلا khabar Laysa. طيب, for this one we'd say Laysa طويلين. This changes. They become طويلين. Here ليسوا طوالا. ليسوهم is ليسوا with the wow. Here is ليست طويلة. ليست طويلة. If it was هن, it would be لسنا. هن لسنا. أنت لست. أنتم لستم. أنا لست. نحن لسنا. This is the point. We use these ضمائر. Some of you might be wondering, why are we using different ضميrs here? Why are we using different ضميrs here? When we attach ضميrs to inna, we use different ones. We used innahu, innahuma, innahum, hum, him, innaka, inna, inni. We use different ضميrs, but here we're using different ضميrs. Why is that? Even though both of them are ضمير متصل, they are attached pronouns. طيب, this is something that you need to pay attention now. If you understand this, is going to help you greatly. The muttasil ضميrs, the attached ضميrs, are two types. There are two types. There's ones that come in the form of the ones that attach to the end of inna, like innahu, innahu, innahuma, innahum, innaha, innahuma, innahunna, innaka, to the end of it, yeah? These ones, innaka, innakuma, the ones that we learnt in lesson 1. And then we have the ones like, for huwa, I can't represent it, but we have the alif al-ithnain, the waw al-jama'a, the noon al-inath, the ta, tuma, ti, tunna, these ones. We have these ones and we have these ones. These ones, these dama'ir, come in the place of nouns which are supposed to be mansub, in the place of nouns which are supposed to be mansub. Please memorize that. We use these dama'ir to substitute nouns which are mansub, which is why they attach to inna, because ismu inna is mansub. That's why we use these ones. So in substituting that mansub noun, we use this one. So this type is used for when it's mansub, and it's also used when it's majroor, in 2 occasions when it's majroor. So you find that these are the same dama'ir that attach to the end of nouns. Baytuhu, baytuhuma, baytuhum, baytuka, Why is that? Because whenever damir attaches to a noun, it gives you mudaf, mudaf ilayhi. And mudaf ilayhi is always majroor, which is why we use this form. Because the damir is coming to represent a noun which is majroor. And that's why we use this form at the end of huruf al-jar. We say ilayhi, ilayhima, ilayhim, ilayka, ilayya, alayya, bika, lahu, laha, lahuma, lahu. We use the same ones. Why? Because the noun which comes after harf jar is ism majroor. So we use this form. Whereas this one is only used in one case, and that is to represent a noun which is marfu'. When the noun is marfu', we want to replace it with a damir. We use this one. Damir muttasil, we use these ones. So here with Laisa, because the noun ismu Laisa is marfu', we're not going to use this one. We're going to use this one. That's why we say Laisa, Laysu. And the same with Kana, Kana, Kanu, and the other sisters of Kana and his sisters, the 13 forms, which Laisa is one of them. And that's why we're focusing on Laisa, because this is the one that's going to be explained in Ad-Darsu Al-Thani. Is this understood? I'm hoping this is understood. If this is understood, this is going to help you greatly. It's going to help you greatly. So let's try and read some more. So this is where we stopped. أمن واشنطن أنت يا هاشم. So there was a conversation between Hisham and Bilal. So let's start from the start again. Hisham, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Bilal, wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. كيف حالك يا أخي؟ من الأخ? How are you? Who is the brother? Hisham, أنا مهندس جديد. I am a new engineer. اسمي هشام. My name is Hisham. أنا من الولايات المتحدة. I am from the United States. أهلا وسهلا ومرحبا بك يا أخي. Welcome, oh brother, oh my brother. أنا مسرور بلقائك. I am happy to meet you. أنا زميلك. I am your colleague. اسمي بلال بن حامد. بلال بن حامد. My name is Bilal, son of Hamid. أمن واشنطن أنت يا هاشم. Are you from Washington? So he's from the United States. He's asking him, are you from the capital? Washington or Hashim. Notice Washington is mamnu' min as-sarf, and that is because of foreign proper noun. Alam a'jami. Covered this in book 1. Alam a'jami, all of the foreign proper nouns, they are mamnu' min as-sarf. Hence Washingtona majroor min Washingtoni is wrong. When a mamnu' min as-sarf word is supposed to be majroor, instead of taking a kasra, it takes a fatha to show that it's majroor. This is where we stopped. Are you from Washington? Hisham says la ana lastu. Ana lastu. What's lastu? Lastu is Laisa attached to ana. Laisa attached to ana is lastu. It gives you lastu. So lastu is basically Laisa plus ana. Ana. What was the original sentence? Min Washington. So Ana min Washington. Ana min Washingtona. Ana min Washington. I'm from Washington. That's the original sentence. Mubtada, jar wa majrur, shibhu jumla khabar. Laisa comes now. If Laisa comes, this transfers into a marfu' damir muttasil. What's the equivalent of this? The equivalent of this, we have two options. It's either ya or tu. Which one are we going to use? Ya, we're not going to use that because that's for when it's majur and when it's mansub. So bayti and inni, that's when we use it. But here, because we want ismu Laisa to be marfu', we use tu. So we say lastu. The ya was omitted because the sin is sakin. That's why we have to explain that. Lastu min Washington. I am not from Washington. So if we said lastu min Washington, ana is there. So where's Laisa? Laisa is here. Laisa. Where's ismu Laisa? The ta. The ta is ismu Laisa. Fi mahalli raf'. It's in the place of something which is marfu'. Because ismu Laisa is marfu'. من واشنطن جار ومجرور شبه خبر في محل نصب. So here we have a sentence, and if we analyze this sentence, Ana is the mubtada of this whole sentence. Ana is mubtada, and then the khabar is coming as a jumla fi'liya. The khabar starts from here up to here. This jumla fi'liya, that jumla fi'liya, lastu min washington, is the khabar of this sentence. Then we can analyze the jumla fi'liya separately and say Laisa is fi'l madi. The ta اسم ليس في محل رفع. من واشنطن جار ومجرور شبه جملة خبر في محل نصب. Is supposed to be mansub, right? Because خبر ليس اسم ليس خبر ليس. We're not looking for فعل فاعل now. This type of جملة فعلية, even though it's a جملة فعلية, there's no such thing as فعل and after it فاعل. There's no فاعل. We say فعل, yes, ليس is فعل ماضي, but there's no فاعل. Instead we're looking for اسم ليس and خبر ليس. طيب. إني من نيويورك. إني من نيويورك. نيويورك. I am from New York. Taking a fatha because علم أعجمي. I am from New York. So here just the same as أنا لست, he's used a ضمير متصل. And the original sentence was أنا من نيويورك. أنا من نيويورك. But when he used the corresponding ضمير متصل for أنا, in this case he used the ya, not the to. Because اسم إن is mansub. So you use the mansub متصل ضمير. The متصل ضمير is going to be the ya, not the to. Notice that, yeah, that's very important to know the difference between two when you use the marfu' ضمائر and when you use the mansub and the majur ضمائر. They actually called ضمير رفع, and the other ones are called ضمير jar, and they also called ضمير نصب. I hope that's understood. So Hisham, he negated, I am not from Washington. It negates now the khabar from the mubtada. Before we affirming the mubtada, the khabar for the mubtada, طويل, Muhammad طويل, we affirmed for him. Now Laisa comes and negates it, says it's not. A Muslimun abuka ya Hisham. Is your father a Muslim? Oh Hisham. Hisham says لا هو ليس بمسلم. No, he is not a Muslim. ليس is فعل ماضي. Where's اسم ليس? اسم ليس here is hidden. Is hidden in ليس. Is hidden in ليس. Then we have be muslimin. جار ومجرور. ليس بمسلمين. Okay. Here we need to know that ليس, the khabar for ليس usually comes in two ways. We have ليس, that same sentence. What was it? هو مسلم. هو مسلم is the original sentence, yeah? How do we represent huwa when attaching to a fi'l? Well, there's no way of representing it. It's just hidden. We say it's hidden. Okay. We're saying that we can represent the khabar of laysa in two ways. The first way is just to bring the khabar directly. The khabar is always going to be mansub if we bring it directly. Musliman. Laysa musliman. What does laysa muslim mean? He is not a Muslim. This is one way. The other way, which is also very common, is we find that there is a ba. There's additional ba which comes. And this ba acts like a harf jar. It's a harf jar. طيب. A ba comes and it attaches to the khabar. If this ba comes, we're not going to see it being mansub. If this ba comes, we're not going to see it being mansub. It's going to be majur. The word is going to be majur, right? So it becomes be muslimin. So there's two forms. There's one form without the ba and second form with the ba. If the ba is not there, we can see laysa doing its job. It makes the khabar mansub. If the ba is there, we're not going to see it doing its job. The word is going to be majur. Be muslimin. Means the same thing. Laysa musliman, laysa bi muslimin. Two ways of representing the khabar of laysa specifically. طيب. I hope that's understood. Inshallah, this lesson we've taken a great deal of benefit, so we're going to stop here. هو ليس بمسلم. Inshallah, we're going to continue tomorrow.